springboard. Go for launch. Go flight. I'm cleared.
Welcome back, everybody. We're T-minus 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go until launch. Now, while a little scratchy there, what we did here is indeed we are go for launch on New Shepard's 25th mission to space and our 7th human mission to space. Well, and now that we're go for launch, which, by the way, never gets old to hear, why don't we go ahead and meet today's crew? Jackie, take it away.
Let's do it, Ariane. In seat number 1 is Ken Hess, a software engineer and entrepreneur with a lifelong passion for flight. In 2001, Ken started the nonprofit Science Buddies, a K-12 program created to improve STEAM literacy. And flight is just in Ken's blood. This is really cool, Ariane. Back in 1922, Ken's great-uncle Franklin stepped into the literal future when he flew a Curtiss Model F flying boat. You heard that right, flying boat.
That is cool.
And like his uncle, Ken will be a pioneer in his own right today, helping to open up the frontier of space. In seat 2, we have Carol Schaller, a retired CPA from the best state in the United States, Pennsylvania.
You're a little biased, I think. I think that's what we're reading.
Just a little. In 2017, Carol's doctor told her that she would likely go blind. And since then, she's made it her mission to see the whole world. And she has. She's covered 25 countries. She's been to Mount Everest Base Camp. She's trekked the Uganda forest. She's seen mountain gorillas, camped on the Antarctic plains at 20 below zero. Clearly, nothing is holding Carol back. She told us that seeing Earth from space will fulfill her lifelong dream.
Now, next we have Sylvain Chiron on seat number 3. Sylvain is the founder of Brasserie Mont Blanc, one of the largest craft breweries in France. And he was born in the French Alps, grew up skiing in his backyard, but importantly is connected to today. He earned his pilot's license at age 16 and has been flying airplanes ever since. So aerospace is certainly in this man's blood. In seat number 4, we have Ed Dwight. Ed was selected as the nation's first black astronaut candidate in 1961 after completing the elite U.S. Air Force flight training program, known at the time as a pathway to the astronaut corps. Now, Ed left the military in 1966, unfortunately not having gone to space at that point, but he became an entrepreneur and ultimately he fulfilled his other childhood dream of becoming an artist. And now we have had the great pleasure of sitting down with Ed in his studio earlier this year. Let's check it out.
So let's walk this way into the studio. There's a group of people that completed astronaut training. Everything that we did.
I have to agree with Ed there. Earth is very workable. It's a workable paradise. Now, it's an honor to fly Ed on board today.
It truly is. And next, in seat number 5, we have Gopi Thotakura. Gopi is co-founder of Preserve Life Corps, a global center for holistic wellness and applied health. He's a lifelong pilot and aviator. And fun fact for you, Ariane, Gopi learned how to fly before he learned to drive a car.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, and I don't even like driving, so I am extra impressed here. And Gopi flies jets, bush planes, aerobatics, seaplanes, you name it, and he flies it. It's pretty amazing.
I love it. Now, last but not least is Mason Angel in seat number 6. Mason is the founder of Industrious Ventures, a VC fund supporting early stage companies. And Mason calls Colorado home, where you might find him skiing or hiking in the Rockies with his dog, who is named Leo. And yes, Jackie, that does stand for low Earth orbit. So in case it wasn't clear, we've got a couple of aerospace nerds on board. They fit right in here at Blue Origin.
Yeah, when you have a dog named Leo, you're certified space nerd.
It's a sign.
It's official. And with Mason, that rounds out our crew today. 6 incredible people that are all ready to have the ride of their life on New Shepard.
Now, ride of their life indeed is coming up here in just 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go until launch. Now, Jackie, at 2 minutes is when we go into our bit checks, our built-in tests. But just as importantly, more importantly, the rocket goes into its autonomous mode. So at that point, mission control is there, but they turn the show over to the rocket. So what we're going to be looking for there, the aft fins. So you see a couple of the fins sticking out there at the base of the rocket. Those are going to move back and forth. We want to make sure they have a full range of motion. We will then also keep an eye out for the BE-3 engine at the base of the rocket to gimbal. So the BE-3 engine, there's one of those at the base of the rocket, liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, propelling New Shepard today. And as you mentioned earlier in the show, as we see the rocket lift off, what is expelled is just steam. So people have asked, well, how clean is this rocket? We expel steam as it goes up into space, which is, just to wrap into this whole idea of, millions of people living and working in space for the benefit of Earth. We want to make sure that we are not contributing negatively. So, of course, that's a wonderful part of New Shepard. So with that, we're going to keep an eye out here for the last-minute checks on the vehicle. We do see that the gantry has been retracted, which means it is showtime. There you go. At the base of the rocket, you see the fins moving back and forth. There are 4 of those fins, 1 on each quadrant. And at this angle, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see the BE-3 engine gimbaling back and forth, but the gimbal of the engine plus those fins are what direct the rocket both on ascent, but obviously the rocket, because it comes back to land, also upon descent to make sure it ends up right on its landing pad 2 miles north of where it's taken off from. All right. Final countdown. Let's turn it over to mission control. Let's light this candle.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Start. And liftoff.
New Shepard has cleared the tower. The rocket and our astronauts are heading up to space. Now you can follow along on the bottom left of your screen. The altimeter on the left. Excuse me, altimeter on the right and the speedometer on the left.
10,000 feet.
All right, as we go through this flight, there are a couple of milestones here. The first one will be max Q. That's when the dynamic pressures are the highest on the vehicle. We go from 100% power, pull it back a little bit as we go through max Q, and then ramp her back up to 100%.
Okay, maximum pressure.
50,000 feet.
Max G should be in about 10 seconds.
Wow.
Max Q has been confirmed. Again, thank you everybody for joining us for New Shepard's 25th mission to space. So far, a nominal flight. We have gone through max Q.
100,000 feet.
And the vehicle will continue to climb under full power of the BE-3 engine. The next milestone will be main engine cutoff. You will know when that happens when you see the glow of the engine at the base of the rocket go dim.
Miko.
There we go. Main engine cutoff confirmed.
Passing 200,000 feet.
Now, with the main engine cut off, with the BE-3 engine turned off, the vehicle continues to climb up towards its apogee, but as you will see on the left side, the speedometer will come down, and once that speedometer hits 0, that's when you know exactly that the vehicle has hit apogee, its highest altitude in the flight of the vehicle. Now, I understand that separation of the capsule from the booster has been confirmed. And 0G has started for our astronauts. Shortly here, we're going to let them unbuckle and enjoy the beauty of floating around in 0G, but of course, the spectacular views out of those windows. And I'll say that having passed over 330,000 feet, they are over the Kármán line, so welcome to space, astronauts.
A few expected drops of UHF.
And there we go. Apogee at just about 347,000 feet or so. Of course, we'll confirm our official figure at the end or after the webcast. At this point, our astronauts are still enjoying that beautiful 0G up in their capsule. All 6 crew just officially became astronauts. So exciting. Now, thank you again for joining us for the 25th mission of New Shepard, our 7th human flight. And I'll just acknowledge that the milestone figure on the left is a little bit out of sync, but that's okay. Follow along with me through this flight. I got you covered. At this point into flight, you see the 2 craft, the rocket on the left, the crew capsule on the right, and you're going to see the speedometer on the bottom left of the screen increase as the vehicles speed up back towards Earth. The rocket is going to beat the capsule back down to the ground. It is more aerodynamically shaped. And once it hits atmosphere, we've got a multitude of aerodynamic surfaces that are going to guide it back to its landing pad just 2 miles north of the launch pad. And then just a little bit afterwards, we have the crew capsule, which will also come back down into that West Texas Valley for a nice soft landing.
Launch pad is safe to pass, but not for approach. Safety copies.
You see it? Oh, Sarah wins. Sarah wins. We're in relation to the crowd.
Be passing 50,000 feet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wait, below the clouds. Trump coming down. Oh, yeah. Very low before. Oh, there it is. There it is.
All right, you see the booster that is headed down. You see the drag fins, the drag brakes that have just deployed. Those cut the speed of the booster in half. Also at the top of the rocket there, you see the forward fins. They kind of look like pie slices, one on each quadrant. That helps keep the vehicle stable. And there we go, BE-3 engine relight. Landing gear deployed.
50 feet, 8 feet per second. Touchdown. Autosync started.
And touchdown. Welcome home, New Shepard. What a beautiful flight to space and back for that booster. Man, it feels good to be flying again, Jackie. Taking our astronauts to space and back. It is, I mean, every day is a good day at the rocket factory, but flying people never gets old.
And I love that West Texas desert dust that gets kicked up, and it's once it clears, a landed booster. It's like a magic trick.
Exactly. Ooh, poof, booster just arrived. Yeah, it definitely adds to the drama of a landing a rocket from space. And, you know, as we say, landing the rocket is just really one of the proudest moments because it shows the incredible engineering. It isn't magic. It is not magic, Jackie. The engineering that has gone into building, designing, testing, flying, but bringing this rocket home from space, ready to be reused. You see very quickly thereafter, the forward fins come back in, the drag brakes come back in. You look like you just fuel her up and launch her from there and get ready to go again. But the show is not over. The crew capsule has deployed its guide parachutes and its mains. Everything looking nominal on today's flight. Looks like we do have two parachutes that have full inflation. The third is not quite fully inflated. But actually, Jackie, this is part of the design. In fact, we were talking about my webcast. The first webcast that we did, we tested a chute out. There are multiple redundant factors in this system, and so landing with two parachutes is perfectly okay for this system. You'll also see the dust kick out at the base of the capsule as she comes into land. That is the air cushioning system. It's going to kick up a lot of that West Texas dust you just talked about, but it also, there it is, touchdown of the crew capsule. A beautiful flight for our rocket, for our crew capsule, for our 6 new astronauts, Mason, Sylvain, Ken, Carol, Gopi, and Ed. You are officially astronauts. Welcome home, everybody. Now, our team has started operations to safely recover our astronauts from the crew capsule. We send out our safety crew as soon as we have visual connection with the crew capsule coming back from space. So they are well on their way out to meet the crew capsule there. What you're going to see as soon as they get there, the first person on the ground, crew member 7. We've talked about them before, so in this case it'll be Laura Stiles. she's going to go around to each one of the windows, make sure that we've got a thumbs up check from each one of the astronauts. Then you will see the rest of the crew around, safing the capsule, making sure that anything that needs to be vented is vented. We ground it. And then you will see them bring out a set of stairs. The hatch is about a meter or so, a couple of feet off of between the base of the hatch and the Texas floor, so we want them to have a nice smooth exit. And then we bring their friends and family out there.
Then it's time to celebrate.
It's time to celebrate. They've just become astronauts. They've achieved this incredible, it's an incredible thing that they've been dreaming about since they were kids, and finally it's happened. There you go. See part of the operations crew in the background. So we have a celebration, and that is topped off by a pinning ceremony. We pin them with their astronaut pins, and it's a really touching moment. It really is a touching moment. We do have initial confirmation that all astronauts are doing great. They are probably soaking it all in while still, under a rush of adrenaline. They just want to space and back. Look at that beautiful view of our crew capsule in the desert after our 7th human flight on the new Shepard system. Now, Jack, you see the crew capsule there and the parachutes that have fallen not far from the capsule itself. One of the things that indicates is in fact that there wasn't a lot of ground wind out there as they came in. They landed nicely around the crew capsule. And what we just saw there was our drone footage, and then of course here our long-range camera. And Jackie, while this is a long-range camera, something that you can't miss on this crew capsule are the windows. So 6 seats, 6 windows, all like the entire surface area, a third of it is windows. So that also includes the base. So when you think about it, like it actually feels like even more than a third of the capsules is windows. And we've heard from some of our previous astronauts when they're up there, you're like, oh, you're just so, in awe of the view coming in from your own window. But when you turn back around to look at your crewmates, all you see is window because your brain just connects all those windows together. It almost feels like you're just looking out of one continuous window. And talking about previous astronauts, why don't we talk with Chris Boshausen from our 2nd human flight. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Wow, that was an exciting flight.
Wasn't that exciting? I mean, give me an idea. Again, you were on our 2nd human flight. What is it like when you've gone up to space, you've come back down, and you're waiting in the crew capsule?
I think, if I recall, we were just so excited, and like on the way down, I remember William Shatner said, I think when the Capcom does the check-in, he said astronaut Lemley is crying, and then we're all crying, and then we landed, and I think we were kind of laughing with joy that we'd landed safely, but still just overflowing with emotion from what we just witnessed.
Well, and yeah, talking about overflowing of emotion, I think one of the most extraordinary parts from your flight was precisely seeing William Shatner as he came out of the capsule, and he was just overwhelmed. And how fortunate are we to have captured a